Hi, this is Alexandra at Beadaholique, here to show you how to make the Tulum earrings with Cymbals and SuperDuo bead mixes. So here's the earring that we'll be making using a beautiful bead mix, and I want to show you the variety that we have here at Beadaholique. So up here in the far corner, we've got a mix called Pinot Noir. Next to that is Copper Canyon. We have Mardi Gras Plush, Mocha Latte, and then down in this corner, we've got Little Boy Blue, Serenity, Fade Away, and Antique Lace. I love those names. So for this design, we'll be using the April Showers mix. I've also got some size 11 Miyuki round seed beads in a beautiful galvanized rose gold. And we'll be incorporating some Cymbals components. I have the bead ending here and also some bead substitutes. I've got an earring hook, a little bead stopper, and for tools, I've got scissors and chain nose pliers. I'll be using some 4-pound test smoke FireLine. So let's begin. So I've got my size 12 needle and I've cut 3 feet of FireLine. And I'm going to bring in my Cymbal bead ending. Now I've found that what works best for these SuperDuo beads, rather than tucking them in, is stringing individual holes. And so I'm going to pull on each one individually here. Getting the SuperDuos settled in between the prongs of that bead ending and leaving myself about a 5-inch tail. Now actually I could have put on my bead stopper. I put it in here just in case, but I'm actually not going to need it. So let's go ahead. I'm going to take on 2 more SuperDuos, and you'll notice that I'm using a random color pattern here just to show off all the pretty shades in this mix. So once I've added on those 2 beads, I'm going to go ahead and pick it all up, and I'm coming through the second hole of that SuperDuo next to them. I'm going to take on 2 more SuperDuos and go through the second hole of the adjacent one there, and then take on 2 more. Now I'm ready to tie my beads into a ring just by taking the tail and the longer thread and tying them into a knot. Just an overhand knot like so. I'm going to come around in a surgeon's knot on my second round. Bring my thread through twice on that loop and tighten it up. So that's what we have so far. So now I'm ready to come down into my 3rd layer of weaving, and I'm going to create a thread bridge right here on the outside of this green bead by coming through the second hole of it. And in this layer is where I'm going to add my bead substitutes. So what I'm going to want to do is make sure that I get the design all facing one way. Actually, I'm going to turn this around so you can see it clearly. These beads have a lovely etched front that I want to feature. So I'm going to bring that in, and you can see how that falls. And I'll just make sure I bring up each one through the same direction to get those facing forward. One between each SuperDuo. These beads are specifically designed to fit with these 2 hole beads. And this design uses 5 for each earring, and they do come in packs of 10, so that works out well. Last one on there. And now for my next row of weaving, I'm going to take on another glass SuperDuo and come through the second hole of my Cymbal bead substitute. That's going to start me into my next row of glass beads, 1 in between each Cymbal. Just choosing my colors as I go. Now this would also make a beautiful banded design if you were to stick with one color for each row and kind of striate it that way. That would look very nice too. All right, so let me set this down so you can see where we're at. So I'm ready to add on the last SuperDuo in that row, and I'm going to choose one of these brown beads. And here I'm going to take a little detour. In order to secure this bead before going into the next row, I'm actually going to take my needle and string up through the top hole of the adjacent cymbal bead, like so. And then I'm going to come down through the second hole of that cymbal bead, and you'll see that my needle is also passing through the top hole of my outer brown SuperDuo. And so that's securing the top of the bead so it doesn't flop around. And now I'm ready to come through the second hole of that bead, creating a thread bridge along the outside. And this next row is going to have 2 glass SuperDuos between each. So let me take up 2 beads and string through the second hole of the next bead. Got a little bit caught there. There we go. 2 more beads, and through the next one, and so forth. Now, some of these beads are opaque and some of them are clear, so I'm trying to remember to mix it up. And I like the fanned design of this pattern. Really shows off a unique way to use these beads, especially when you start stacking 2 in between. So now I'm ready to come down into my very last row, and I'm going to create a thread bridge by coming down into the second hole of that outer blue bead, and I'm ready to take on 3 of my seed beads. And I'm going to come through the hole of the adjacent SuperDuo and create a little sort of peacoat edge. Now what's going to happen here is I'm actually going to thread through the second bead as well. And so I'm bringing the 2 edges of those beads together before I add my next set of 3 seed beads. And that's what gets the look of the sort of alternating peacoat edge at the bottom. Three more beads and coming through 2 of the SuperDuos. Three more beads through the 2, and now I'm ready for my last 3 beads. Through that last SuperDuo on the end. Now I just need to weave in and tie off my thread, and I find with the SuperDuos they're a little tricky to thread back through even one at a time, but let alone multiple. So I go one bead at a time to get my needle back through there. I'm going to find a thread bridge between the 2 beads, and I'm going to make my knot just by looping through with my needle. Come around once and twice, and then work my needle through a couple more beads before I cut the thread. Come through one at a time as I need to. You can come through as many as you like. So I'm going to clip off that thread Now I'm going to take my needle off. I'm going to thread back onto my tail. I'm going to thread that tail up through the cymbal bead ending at the top just to add some extra security to the design. So from the side that I'm on, I'm going to come back through the holes of these very top beads and through the cymbal finding. I'm going to work my needle through there. Let's see where I'm at. This last hole here. And I'm going to create a little knot for myself. You can weave in however you'd like. Send my needle through and clip. So all that's left now is the earring hook. I'm going to take my chain nose plier and just open that loop off to the side. Slide on the top loop of my cymbal bead ending and close it up. Now I have two beautiful earrings. I hope you enjoyed this video and all of these beautiful bead mixes we have here at Beadaholique. Please check out our website and also our YouTube channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching.